And there was two fights recently that I wanted to know your take on, and it was a couple of over 40s, and obviously Pacquiao's one of them. But the other one is Rigondeaux and Casimero. I don't know if you got a chance to see that fight.
Yeah, I did. I did it. Those kind of fights, like I remember getting a draw early in my career, fighting an African guy, wild African guy named Moses Matavu. And from my aspect, from the pure boxing, like I just boxed his ears off. I hit him, ran around, like made a joke out of him. He was doing all this, like acting like a gorilla type stuff, and trying to get at me. And what it comes down to, sometimes you get judges that don't want to see a paint job. They don't want to. They want to see you mix it up. Like you got to, like, after that, when I'm on my way into the ring, I always bow to all the judges. I look at the judges, and I mean, you can't tell a book by its cover ever, but when I see those older judges that look like they were around when the 1970s or 80s, when the light heavyweight was really cooking, I'd be like, oh, you know what, man, these guys aren't gonna let me get away with, like, just a little boxing expedition or anything. They want to see some blood. So yeah, I got to draw with Moses Matabu because of that, and later on I had to revenge the draw in an 8-round. And that time, at Cash Creek, it was a war. So yeah, but I think that's what happened to Rigondeaux. Definitely, that's what happened to him.
Because this is what I found really curious about that fight, right? How many times do you see a guy get a decision where you can't remember him landing a clean shot upstairs? Like, not one time. I can't remember Casimero landing clean on him one time. Now, I'm not saying that Rigondeaux was so active and did this, but it's like the 2 or 3 good ones that he would land every round, that was enough, because the other guy is not bringing anything offensively. So, and obviously there's like a part of me that is frustrated that Rigo is not more active in a fight like that. But at the same time, you almost have to expect that, or you know what I mean, to a certain extent, based on how the style has always been. And I think if you're really judging that fight objectively, it's like hard to see how you could ever give that decision to Casimero. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, from the layman's eyesight, outside looking in, there's no way that you can give it to him. But what people fail to realize, there's other ways that you can judge boxing. And it's punches thrown, punches landed, ring generalship. We all know that Rigondeaux has that, but then also effective aggression and stuff. So a lot of times with these older judges, like I'm saying, if you are, almost looking like a rodeo clown out there, like just like making a bull run into the ropes and everything, but you're not taking advantage after he runs in, you're not blending him up. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't have power or not. You should be, firing like a couple of beautiful combinations and making him pay for missing. And I think sometimes Rigondeaux gets into that art where he loves making people look so stupid that he forgets to punch. You know what I'm saying? So.
And I think it's like, it's almost like a head game with him, like where he's like, how long can you care about this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how long can you give a shit about this? Because I'm gonna make you miss about 40, 50 times clean, and I'm gonna see you still even want to be here. And for the most part, I don't think people do. I don't think Casimero. To me, I was just so surprised at how unprepared he was. You know what I'm saying? Like, against that guy, I don't know how you're gonna pull up to that fight and be surprised that he's on the back foot for an hour. Like, he could do that for 25 rounds if he needed to.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people, they have a fight plan, and the fight plan is like, oh, I'm younger than him. I'm gonna bring it to him. I'm gonna hit him. I'm gonna trap him on the ropes and just fire. I'm not gonna sit here and pose with him and all that stuff. But then they forget, what is he gonna be doing while you're trying to do that? And it's hard to corner that guy. He's a dictionary of boxing, man. He's an encyclopedia of boxing, really. It's just like he knows things to do in the ring that you may be like 60 years old before you figure it out.
I think what I found weird about it is I get all the what you're saying about how like super technical guys can have a hard time getting decisions because you're not taking advantage of some of the openings. But I gotta be honest, I've watched a couple of Floyd fights that look like that. I've watched a couple of B-Hop fights that look like that. Like, what do you think it is like that some guys like at a certain point for Floyd, the politics of boxing, and he would beat guys clean, but I'm saying like even in a close decision, there's no way that he's not going to get the nod. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think is like how do you cross over with that style?
You got to have prestige. There's got to be a prestige. I think people after a while start giving Floyd the benefit of the doubt that, like because of the way he's talking, that, you have to attach yourself like as a fan. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about what he's going to do. He's not, even if you are that old judge that thinks like, oh, I want to see him go to war, I want to see blood. He lets you know on HBO 24/7, hey, I'm going to box this dude's ears off for like 3 weeks. So you're already prepared for it, so it's prestige. Like he's already in the media and everything. Rigo has negative prestige. Like the judges already know, like you said, he's going to be on the back foot. He's going to do the rodeo clown thing. And I don't necessarily like it. I wish he would stop fighting. He's been all these Olympics. He's been fighting for all this. It's time to get this guy out of here. We're not going to let him rob some youngster again. Now, But if he was on top of the game like Floyd or B-Hop, like with B-Hop, people start attaching this up to like the Marvel thing. Like, oh, he's old and he's still fighting this guy like this. Oh, he's still doing push-ups after the round and stuff like that. So it's just prestige.
But I don't even think Rigondeaux got credit for, like, if you hate that everything about how he fought that fight, just like the fact that his legs and his speed are exactly the same at 40 whatever as they've been. Like, I feel like that got no appreciation at all during the commentary.
Well, it didn't, you know what I'm saying? But again, and I love Riggs. I think that he's, like you said, like I said, a boxing encyclopedia. But I'm a little bit of the old school where I feel like if you have clowned somebody for 8 rounds and you're in a 10-round fight, then blend them for 2 rounds. Even if you don't got the power to hurt them, like put gloves on them, like make them want to quit, for those 2 rounds. And it's crazy because if he would do that, a lot of people would probably bow out, because I'm gonna tell you, thank God it's never happened to me, but it would sicken me more to get clowned like how Rigondeaux clowns people, like, rodeo clown, I can't lay a glove on you, than if a guy just literally like when Gotti Ward or Marvin Hagler on me and just made me cough up blood like in the 5 Deadly Venoms or something. Like, I would rather do that than have someone do a paint job on me and have to like look at that on the replays or everything for throughout the rest of the time.
Right, because at least if you're in a shootout, it's like, all right, one of us is going. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but with Rigondeaux, I forgot someone did an interview about Floyd, but I think it applies to him too, where it's like you're in there and you're so ready to touch something, and then that's not what you're doing. It's like you're barely even sparring. You get out of the round and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
What was the last 3 minutes? Did anybody hit anybody? And then you're just like questioning who you are at that point. I don't know. I get the frustration with him because I feel the frustration, but I think it's unfortunate that he hasn't gotten his flowers a little more. Yeah,
definitely.
With the level of skill that he operates.
He might be like what's the Nikolai? You know this guy. You watched him before. The old guy in the black and white era, Nikolai, the
Argentinian guy.
Yeah. So that guy didn't get his flowers.
Nicolino Loche, dude.
Yeah, Loche. Yeah, that guy didn't get his flowers until like 15, 20 years after he was gone. Like when people like with the modern era start really noting, like, oh man, his defense is great, but when he was doing all that, they were booing him out of stadiums and throwing stuff at him.
Right, and when you watch him back now, he straight up looks like he's from the future.
Oh, yeah.
Like nobody else was really fighting. I don't even remember seeing that much Philly shell like that before him. I know guys did it before him, but it wasn't like he would just straight up roll around the ring like this.
Yeah. Yeah, he was clowning people for real, man. That dude, man, the upper body movement and and the angles and the step over, like we call it stepping off the track, but like,
Yeah.
man, he was like seriously clowning people.
So what do you think about his future, Rigondeaux? Do you think there's still a future in boxing for him, or do you think that like the powers that be have decided that it is what it is?
I think by now the powers that be have decided that, you know, any given Saturday, Friday night, we can take a decision from him, you know, and after they do that, if they do that one more time like that, then he's just going to be a guy that gets put on young guys' ledger. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he deserves that. I would rather see him go to more like the Casamayor route and just become like a great trainer in Vegas, or a liaison to the Cubans that come over, you know?
I'm not, it's hard to even say, because I think it is special for somebody that age to be that sharp, and that he's still got basically, I mean, I'm sure he's got taken a step back, but he's got basically everything he's ever got. It would be, I think, a shame if he retired with that much, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I get what you're saying, where it does kind of seem like it's been decided, you know?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
You know, another thing that I didn't touch on that I should also, and a lot of people don't think about also, is that the weight class that he's in. The weight classes that he's in, you know, be it from, you know, going from 126 all the way up to 118 or whatever, where he was. What was the last fight at?
I think he fought this last one at 118.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, and those people demand action in those weight classes. Like there's not a lot of power, so they want to see, like, literally, they want to see like a kung fu fight, dude. Like, you know, like. Right. Nothing but, like, you know, strikes and blows being thrown. So now when you slow it down with that kind of pace, now if he was like a middleweight or light heavyweight like Bernard Hopkins or something, then people might give him a pass, or even a welterweight, like if he can control action and fight when he wanted to. But when you're in an all action, like, you know, like a firefight division like that, it you know, I think those judges really are just like, you know, like you said, they're just like, look, okay, it's time for this guy to go.
People want Estrada and Chocolatito. They want, you know, Carbajal and Gonzalez. They want the high volume, high action, because naturally people don't like the smaller fighters as much. So they're expecting that the pace is going to make up for, you know, the lack of size.
Exactly.
And Rigondeaux doesn't give them any of that.
Yeah. And then you know, those guys, because of their action, and because of their size and the way that their body accumulates the violence in boxing and everything, their careers don't last very long.
Right.
You know, and here you got Rigondeaux, his career is, this dude might still be fighting when he's 50.